All right, welcome back. Today is March the 8th, 2025. It's about 60 degrees, light wind blowing here in north central Kentucky. We're just south of Louisville by a little bit. Been working in the garage for 2 days, cleaning up boxes, getting boxes painted. Still got more to go, as you can see. And got a chance to look in the hives today. So got one building some bird comb where we had the feeder shim. So we're going to go up there and check them out and see if we can add some of these boxes. I'll see you at the bee yard. All right, we're up in the apiary now. We've got our hives up here on the north end, got our side by side, and then we got our south end hives. We checked these yesterday. Today it's about it's a little over. I guess we're probably about 60 now. So it's warm enough. Bees are really busy. I don't know how much you can see of them back there, but we checked all those. Got those where we wanted. There's one with a top that's not quite on there. I need to make some more migratory covers. So I'll get that done, but I already checked those and they're where they need to be for the time. A whole lot of this beekeeping is about timing and trying to make sure that the hives are where they need to be when they need to be there. So I'm pretty sure those are, and today we're starting to check these down here. They're getting after us a little bit, but we'll check those and make sure. Hopefully I can add a top box. I know one of them down there has got some bird comb on the top, so we'll add some a top box to that one at least, and maybe a few more. We've got our other yard. We're gonna have to move the yard at Smithville, so we'll be doing that Monday. Tomorrow's Sunday, so Monday we'll be going over there and getting them ready to move, and then we'll either move them Monday night or we'll move them Tuesday. All right, we got some few fondant patties left in case we need them. Shouldn't need them too bad. Monday I expect the maples to be bloomed out really nice. So I think they'll be doing it Monday. On next week's supposed to be in the 70s, so I think they'll be busy on the maples. All right, we're just gonna try to go in order down through here. I'm pretty excited about using my cedar shavings for smoke. Smells a lot better than what I've been using. I take my edger and just shave off some cedar. Let it dry for a little bit, and then I can use it for smoker fuel. I keep a bag of smoker fuel ready. Yeah, see, that frame's empty. I need to fill this box up good. And like I said, I'll probably start Monday with the maple is what I'm expecting to happen. Yeah, looks good. They're expanding. This will be the outside, which has got eggs and larvae. And that's the inside of that frame toward the center of the brood nest. Got some pretty nice solid cat brood. Glance for the queen. Don't see her. Some more brood there. Not quite as solid, but not looking bad. Get off. Get off. Bees looking pretty good. Yeah, I think when this maple starts blooming Monday, I think it's going to be a big jump to these hives. I want to let them fill this box up completely before I put another box on them. Everything looks good. All the equipment looks good. We got our blue paint pens for marking 2025 queens. And then we got green from last year. I use that to make my notes with on the hive cover. These singles, you know, we talk about single brood management. It does fine, but just for sheer numbers, I like taking doubles through the winter. switch them out. Just gives you a lot more bees, a lot more ability to make splits and do things that you couldn't do otherwise. One thing you want to look for in here is make sure they're not pollen bound. Some of these frames will be full of pollen and it'll stop them from building on over. So you got to check for that. Pretty calm, a little calmer in this box than it was the other one. Not quite as many bees though. There's some dead bees. I need to pull this box off the bottom board and clean it off from the winter. Got a lot of bees landing on me, but no bees stinging me so far. It's gonna be warm enough now we can put liquid feed on. So I might be making up some liquid feed to get ready for chicks. Alright, there's some cat brood. Looks pretty solid. If I had to guess, I would say the queen's on that next frame. Let's see if we can see her. Kind of go by the top bars of the, yeah, there she is right there. She's a green. So she's last year's queen, which is good. Hopefully you can see her there. I've got her in the frame. She's got a nice green dot on her. She seems to be doing okay. I wouldn't mind to see them a little bit stronger than they are, but they're not doing terrible since we hadn't had anything blooming yet. Alright, next one, I think this is one that's got the bird comb. I seen already when I was looking up here with Alex earlier. Alright, that's what we're talking about for the bird comb. They're trying to build up on top. It's not new bird comb or it'd be white, so I don't know if they're moving wax up. Not quite sure what they're doing, and there's still a little bit of room on the edges. I'd like them to fill up, but since they're wanting to build this bird comb, I think I'm gonna go ahead and add another box to them. Smoke them all down off of that good. And then I can scrape it off without worrying about hurting so many of them. Take her feeder ring off. And I'm gonna go get a box. We've got a box with mixed frames of drawn comb and foundation. So if they're wanting to build comb so bad, we'll let them build it up there on the top. Did get rid of some frames that were black. It's a good chance to get rid of the black frames. This one's fairly dark, but it's still got some light brown. It's not as dark as some of them. All right, here we got a double deep. It's apparently pretty heavy because we didn't put a feeder shim on it. So it ought to be a good opportunity to make a split off of here in a month or so. All right, the top box looks to be filled up all the way across. Good and solid. So we'll pull it off and check the bottom. I think it's gonna be the same way, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, it's good and full too. All right, put a bunch more cedar shavings on the top of it where it'd have to come up through that fresh cedar and wouldn't cause so much fire to come out. I done left my dang hive tool up there. Finally got all this cleaned up here. I had a bunch of stuff behind the hives that I finally got cleaned up. Get back down there. Yeah, this one's almost empty. It's got bees in here. Now that I'm looking down through here, a lot of bees come down in here. I think just because there's not enough room for them in the top. I don't think there's any brood. We might go ahead and rotate this one. Yeah, see, it's just empty frames and bees, and they're looking for space. So we're going to put this one above the other one and rotate boxes. That way they can come up into this space and use it. They go up in the spring. Everybody used to tell me that the bees would always go up, which is not true. They'll go down in the fall. But they go up in the spring. So since they like to go up, we're going to give them the room and the space on top. Get off, turd. Just too many bees in here for them to all be in that top box. Oh, crap. Ow. Dang it. Glove time. All right. Gloves on now. Hey, like me now, suckers. Clean that off a little bit. It's pretty clean already. This will help them a lot to be able to have some more room. Yeah, these using the colors to mark the lids helps to know when you made which notes too. Just recently started doing that. I was using this black marker. All right, next one's a single. All of them's getting a little bit lighter. These have ate all their pollen patty and fondant. I'd like to see them fill out those outside frames, but I'm worried I'm going to be too late if I wait till they get it done, so I'm going to go ahead and add a box of this one too. And I think I'm going to go from the fondant to liquid feed. So any of them I want to feed now, I'll put a division board feeder in and feed them with that. I might go down there and get me a few of them. You got to remember too that the bees, even when they're foraging, they'll be foraging on the maple. But if it's raining or have a cool day or late in the evening, early in the morning, they'll have that feed there close if they need it. So you got to keep that in mind, that even though there's going to be a slight flow going on, they'll still have some sugar water in there to drink if they need it. So we got us a nice pretty painted white box. We're going to move all of our frames to the center. They're all marked with 25 for 2025. These nukes, stackable nukes. I've always had nukes, but I've never had the ones that were open where you could stack them. So this is a nuke stacked 3 high. And the last time I checked it, it was almost completely full. So it overwintered well. Bees, there's certain things that bees like to do. One of the things is they'd rather fill up a small space than a big space. So they actually do better in a more, 10 frame Langstroth is the standard, but the bees prefer a more narrow space and prefer to go up. Would much rather go up than out. Though the long hives are nice, and they will go out, but they'll go up faster. So we'll take a peek in this one and see how it's doing too, since it's warm. Warm. One of the things I go by as far as checking a hive is if you can wear short sleeves and be comfortable. And today is one of them days. It's kind of cool. It's about 60, but if it was breezy, it would probably be too cool. I'd be worried about chilling brood. But it's sunny, and there's hardly any breeze, so it's a much warmer day, much better for checking these hives than it would be if it was windy today. I'm pretty sure this one's heavy. Yeah, it's really heavy. It's stapled. He's got the bottom board stapled on the bottom. This comes from a beekeeper in Eastern Kentucky. I went down there and bought a bunch of stuff. He was downsizing. Brought back 2, filled up the truck and trailer twice. We thought one would get it, but it didn't. This top box, I'm pretty sure, is just full of honey. Very heavy. Hard to know where to go into some of these at. So much burr comb down through here. But yeah, this has got a ton of honey. And it looks like a little nectar in there too. Kind of boogered it up, getting it out. I don't try to do all the cleaning at one time, but I always try to do a little cleaning every time I go in there, and it makes it better for the next trip in. If you can kind of keep that off there. Our bees, we bred more. We used to breed the propolis out of it. There's what's left of the pollen patty. We used to breed it out of them. Now we bred it back into them, which is supposed to be good. It's a whole lot better for the health of the hive, so they say. But it's a pain in the butt when you're trying to work these things and deal with all this propolis. Scraping the heck. You have to scrape anyway, which is my least favorite job. You have to scrape even more now because we bred so much propolis production back into it. This is a really strong, healthy hive. And like I said, another way you can check the health of a hive is how fast they eat the food. If there's something wrong with them or their belly hurts, they're not going to eat what you put in there for food. We've got cat brood there in the center. Real solid cat brood down there. I try to do a lot better. I was talking to Josh yesterday. Try to do a lot better with our queen. I say that every year. But getting the genetics out of the best queens that we've got. There's our green dot queen. So we're doing pretty good with having year-old queens in there. And you can kind of tell because the ones we've got, they're doing really good. Have newer queens. But try to do better with getting the queens replaced on a regular basis and using our best genetics to put queens in other hives. The more I do it, the less, and I didn't nurse much anyway, but I have a tendency to nurse less, even more now than I did. So if I had to guess, and what I'll attempt to do this year is anything, even if it's a young queen, if they're underperforming, if they're lagging behind the rest of them and not keeping up, my goal is going to be to replace that queen no matter what. I've developed a stronger aptitude for pinching queens last year, and it's going to be even stronger this year if you're not in the top 50%, because those hives that don't build up as quick as the rest of them or don't keep up are a constant problem. It's not like they get better and catch up. You can add bees to them, do whatever you're going to do. Yeah, see, this one is really good. Some of them have left the patty completely, which probably means they need some help. But if they can't keep up, the queen's getting pinched, and I'm putting another queen in because they're a constant source of problem. Alright, I'm not going to go any farther. Hear them buzzing down there already since their queen left them. I'm going to put her back on there. So they've got good brood and good honey. Another thing I don't do as much as I used to, everything seems like it goes in a circle. You went from not equalizing to equalizing, and now I'm of the mindset that a lot of those frames are wasted when you try to equalize and put frames from a good hive into a bad hive. It doesn't change a bad hive into a good hive, and you end up wasting you'd be better off starting a new hive with those frames than you would be to put it in a bad hive, because you just end up losing some of your production, some of your bees that could have been splits or whatever. But I don't equalize as much as I used to. I used to do it a lot. I will move boxes if I got a real strong hive. A little later, not this early, but if I got a real strong hive, I'll move it and put it in the place of a weaker hive and swap places with them. And then you can make it a little stronger that way. But you got to be careful about that. You don't want to go chasing, using your stuff from your good hives and putting them in bad hives, because you just waste what you have, your resources. All right, still some fondant on there. I still got space to fill. I can see down over here pretty good. These fondant or pollen patties got kind of hard. I just use a recipe on the bag. They're not. I guess they're okay, but they're not. I'd like them to be a little more like peanut butter than to break apart that easy. So I might use the different recipe when I go back. This is another one of them hives that you wonder, is it time to put a box on, or do I let them fill this out? There's some honey there. They got a lot of filling to do, so I'm not going to put a box on them yet. There's getting into the pollen a little bit, so it means the next frame will be brood. Should be brood. Harry was talking earlier today, most of everything in beekeeping is should be, or most of the time. It's never, hardly, and always. It don't look too bad. I might go ahead and take some resources from a nuke here next door and trade it out with them. Pretty sure all these are full of honey, so we'll put 3. Might just put 2 in here so they have plenty to eat. Yeah, this is a good heavy frame of honey, so that'll give them plenty of food. I won't have to worry about them too much. Now to give this one some room to expand a little more and put some stuff if I need to. I'll leave that for now and see what they do with that $1. All right, this one is next one is a deep and a shallow. I don't like to see that happen, but sometimes it can't be helped. I don't like my supers out here overwintering. I like them put up. It's like most of the bees are in the top. It's like they've ate all their pollen that I put on here. Heft weight is light. There's some bees in the bottom. I don't know if there's brood in that mess or not. Yeah, well, there's brood in here. I can't move it because it's got brood in it. So it'll have to stay there, which that's fine. Frame of honey to this one too. That's kind of a wonky comb that they drew out on that plastic foundation. Might be a good time to go and get rid of it now that I think about it. Put that one in there, and then we'll grab another frame of honey out of this nuke. All right, that's a good frame of honey. And put that in there. Since it's light, that'll help hold them over till, I think next week they'll be getting enough to where they won't have to worry about them starving at least. That's a little insurance that we can rotate in there. Now I need another frame to go back in my nuke. My empty spot. Yeah, I took that wonky frame out, so it leaves us one shy. All right, there's a good empty drone frame that they'll be able to come up and lay in and give them some more room, which I need, so it'll be good. I like that. All right, so we put the rest of our fawning on here, and we'll put a little more on them. Give them another piece. You always want it right near the brood so they don't have to move too far to eat it. Heft weight's pretty good, it's got some weight to it. See what we got in the bottom. Yeah, no, there's a little bit of brood down there. I wouldn't have thunk it, but there's a little bit of brood in there, so we'll leave it in its current configuration. Quite a bit more brood in that one. Some drone larvae, so starting to rear some drones. But yeah, anytime there's brood in this bottom box, baby bees in the bottom box, you don't want to rotate, you don't want to get them all mixed up. They won't be able to keep it warm. I'll help them out a little bit by taking this pollen patty out where they can get to it, especially since it's dried out a little. It ain't as bad as I've seen. It's not too dry. It's still breaking apart a little bit. That'll help them out to get that over there where they're actually at so they can eat it. All right, this is the next double deep. That's probably the last one we'll do on camera. This is one that's missing frames, so we can probably rectify that problem today. Be a good one to end on. Never, ever leave frames out. Anytime that I've ever left frames out of a hive, I have really good intentions with my beekeeping. I intend to do the best thing possible every time, but follow through is a different story. And that's the way what happens when you leave out a frame. This is what you get. And stuff like this. And then you have to go in there and fix that mess. So don't ever leave a frame out. Always put your frames in. You might be coming right back. You might be back in 5 minutes. But too many times you'll forget and end up with this. And then have to tear up good comb and fix something that shouldn't have to be fixed. If you never leave a frame out, you don't have to worry about this mess. I'll look in the bottom before we do all that. Dang, we left frames out everywhere. Good gosh. Yeah, this is an empty box. So that'll help us out a little bit. Give us some frames to add into this top box. Let's see, let's clean that bottom board off. These little mistakes like this add up and contribute to your failures. This hive is not overly packed with bees anyway, and we're not helping by going in here and having to clean out all this junk for them. Who knows what we're going to have to take out of there. This is very light. Very, very light. But it's got to be done, so you just got to suck it up and do it. Be better to do it now than come back and do it later. Of course, our best frame comb is right here in the middle. Need to try to tie that into a frame. Got a frame here I just popped out the foundation out of. I'm gonna go down there and get some rubber bands and then tie this one back into it. Hopefully they won't get too cold in the meantime. I don't know how that's going to work, but time will tell. All right, we're going to put that brood toward the center. Let's steal another frame from our nuke of honey. And finish out with the frames from that other box. All right, that fixed their problem. Hopefully it's not so devastating on them it causes the hive to die, but they're not very strong. A little bit unorthodox repair. I couldn't find my stinking rubber bands down there, so we made do with some tape and taped it in. Yeah, I might lose some bees with sticking to the tape, but it won't be many. They're kind of weak anyway. Did add a frame of honey, so hopefully that'll help them out, and hopefully they'll make it. We'll check them again next week when it's warm and see how they've adapted to our changes. We'll add some feeders next week. We'll see how this maple flow does and how much stuff they're bringing in, but they should be pretty active. It's supposed to be in the 70s all next week. So I appreciate you watching. Appreciate your support of the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot. God bless.